Welcome back to Cinema Corner. I'm Blake, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Alex and Josh.
And today we're looking back at 2025 as a whole. We have the full list from earlier, and there's some new movies that weren't on this list prior to us looking towards 2025. So we're going to mention those as well. But Blake, you have the full list in front of you. I guess we all do, but you are usually the host of this, so take it away.
Yeah, like always, like Alex mentioned, we don't talk about every single movie released in 2025. And a good chunk of these, we already did a review on the movie when it came out. So, like, those movies we probably won't talk too in depth about. But these are kind of just more of the bigger box office type major studio releases that either we talked about going into the year or ended up coming out that we didn't talk about. So, as always, to refresh everyone's memory from almost a year ago, January, everyone knows beginning of the year is always a tough time of year. January, February in particular tend to be pretty down years or months, and it's no different to start. Might as well just kind of group all three instead of going one by one. We had Den of Thieves Pantera, which Josh and I both saw and did a review on. And if you saw that video, you know, was not very good. We had Flight Risk, which nobody saw, the Mark Wahlberg movie that took completely in, or it seemed at least completely in the plane between three actors. And then you had Companion, which was the A24 movie that was kind of about a futuristic world where you could order basically like a companion that you can kind of control from a smartphone. This is another movie that Josh and I saw and did a review on, but these are really the only three somewhat notable movies to talk about to start 2025.
Yikes.
Rough start.
Yeah.
I mean, Companion was okay. We came out of that surprised. It was good enough. Entertained. That's all you can ask for.
Especially in January.
Especially those months, for sure.
Yeah, it's January, February. If you can come out being okay with the movie, that's a success.
Yeah.
I also will just say, I don't know what it is with, does January have to have a movie that revolves around a plane crashing? Because I've started now seeing trailers for January, a Rachel McAdams, Dylan O'Brien movie, Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi, which is based on Dylan O'Brien is like a douchebag boss of Rachel McAdams. And then they go on a company trip and the plane goes down and they end up on like an island and she like saves him. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for this at any movie you've seen.
I have not, no.
But she like saves him basically, like he had like on one of those like life jacket kind of things, and she like brings him to the island and like he was knocked out for like 2 days, and then he finally like wakes up and he's like, what's going on? She's like, oh, the plane crashed, and he's still like a douchebag, like, well, have you tried getting us off the island? And she's like, that's not how this fucking works. And then it's like a whole Sam Raimi weird thing of like, it looks like they end up like fighting on the island like to the death kind of deal, and very over the top. But that's coming out in January. I'm pretty sure it's January. It could be February. I'm pretty sure it's January. But I'm just like, is there just a requirement if you're making a every January, there has to be some kind of plane going down to start the year?
I think it's just one of those like physical event type writing movies. They just throw it in January. Like the end of the world type beat. I feel like those always come out.
Moonfall. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Moonfall. Yeah, shout out Moonfall.
Yeah, that's on my notes.
Definitely an early. Yeah, that was an early first of the third year. That was January, maybe March, for sure.
Yeah.
But
nice.
Then we move on. February also is typically a tougher month for movie theaters and movies coming out. We had With Love, which was the Amazon Prime movie that did get a theatrical release, starring Quinn Jong-Q. Is that how you pronounce his name? From Everywhere All at Once, the dad.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember how to say his name.
Quan or something like that.
Yeah, Hui Kwan or something along those lines. But Marshawn Lynch had a cameo in this movie from the trailers. Yeah. None of us saw it.
Wow.
I just felt that this was worth talking about because Amazon made a movie that got a theatrical release.
There wasn't a lot of ads for it, that's for sure.
Whole lot of ads.
Yeah.
And then going into The Gorge, which was an Apple TV movie, which was one that I saw and then assigned Josh most recently in one of our Cinema Tasks videos. and was definitely a surprise. I would say to start the year, the best movie of the first couple months, I would say.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't watch it, of course, as you just said, but when I was looking at movies I did watch in 2025, this was definitely in the top 5 for like my highest ratings. So this was a banger.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say if I looked at just movies that came out in 25, there's a good chance it's also for me too in the top, definitely top 10, but possibly top 5 for me as well. This was kind of a surprise one. And then we go to the first of 3 MCU movies and overall 4 comic book movies. We had Captain America: Brave New World, which came out in February. Obviously, we have a full video about this. This one was a little kind of polarizing between the group, as Alex and I both still enjoyed this movie and did not think it was all that bad. Josh is a pretty big, not supporter, we should say. Could say even hater, but I think as time has gone on, we all have kind of leaned a little bit more closer to Josh of, yeah, it is very much a Incredible Hulk sequel. But yeah, Captain America, first of 4 comic book movies in the year.
Yeah.
Rough start.
Brutal.
Rough start.
I was so mad. So mad. I'm even getting a little annoyed now thinking about it. I looked at my rating for this one, just because I just did when I was preparing for this. And it was a 4.4. That's what I gave this film. I was angry, and
across the board,
feel like it's okay.
Yeah, across the board, it's definitely the worst comic of the 4 comic book movies we got this year. No argue, this is the worst one.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then we move into March, which is when we start to pick up a little bit. I would definitely say kind of before we get to this spring summer, obviously, but March actually had some pretty good movies. We had Mickey 17, which was the starter of the year that was actors doing a dual role with Robert Pattinson in this one. And then we had Black Bag, the Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett movie. Snow White, Disney's one of Disney's flops of the year in terms of box office success. And then Death of a Unicorn, another A24 movie starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. I believe we did reviews on Mickey 17 and Death of a Unicorn. I don't remember. Did we not do Death of a Unicorn?
I don't think
we saw it together.
We did see. I think we just saw it.
Okay, so Mickey 17, I guess, is the only one that we did a review on of these 4 movies. I'm also the only one who saw Snow White out of all of us as well. But
yeah, well, besides Snow White, I want to say for this month, hey, unique. That's what I would describe it easily. It was different. I think even though we did not enjoy Death of a Unicorn, at least it was different. Gave it a shot, tried it. You guys, I still enjoyed Mickey 17. That movie was very unique. Black Bag was a surprise, fun film for us to see. So this was, I think, overall still a win. And I just didn't have a chance to really even give a chance to Snow White, to be honest.
Yeah, I've only seen Mickey 17. I was tasked Black Bag, which I've not seen yet. But hearing you guys talk, relatively positive about it gives me hopes. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Plus, it has Michael Fassbender, so it has to at least be somewhat decent. Yeah, I just checked Death of Unicorn, not on the channel. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess Mickey 17 was our only review.
I'm not surprised we did it.
Yeah, as soon as I said it, I was like, did we? There's no way we did a review on that one, right?
Yeah, we don't want to be haters.
Yeah, I kind of just said that to say it. And we move into April, which is when we get right before the big boom that is kind of the launch of summer, which is May, and kind of the blockbuster run. And really, we had like a good 2 to 3 months where we had a steady every week to maybe you had like a week off. There was a release coming out that was at least interesting to see, or at least we thought going into it. But April still had a pretty good month. You had Novocaine, The Amateur, which is the Rami Malek movie, Minecraft movie, and of course Sinners. So kind of started off, obviously Minecraft was the first big box office movie of the year, and it almost was the highest earning movie of the year until Lilo and Stitch got it, which was only the next month. But Minecraft was really the launch of like box office and movie theaters kind of really going off to start the 2025 year.
Yeah, I stated how I felt about it, like sickening, like another IP like that catered to kids, of course, is going to be the one to have like the most. Although I think now, as of this recording, Zootopia is looking to track to be the highest. So,
Yeah.
jury's still out.
It will.
Yeah.
It will.
But yeah, I mean, I think we did Novocaine and Sinners are both on the channel. So, if you want to see our reviews for those, go check those out.
Yeah, this month I was just busy. I only saw Sinners out of somehow of these 4 films. Only saw Sinners. Yeah.
Guys, I'm dedicated to the grind. I will just touch on Amateur. I don't know, Alex, if you ever saw that one.
I haven't. I've seen like
ads for it.
Ads for it, yeah.
Yeah, I would say that one was actually it was a pretty good surprise movie. Rami Malek basically was like a CIA analyst, I believe. CIA? Yeah, CIA, not FBI. CIA. And like his wife dies and he wants to go after the people who killed him. And goes through a whole kind of thing of him learning that he can use his like brain to kind of kill these people instead of like brute, because he doesn't really have that strength. It was pretty interesting. Had a pretty good cast in it. Lawrence Fishburne, I want to say, was his like kind of instructor or like mentor in the CIA thing. And then I can't remember his name, but he was like one of the big FBI guys who's just like one of those people that I feel like you see and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's in this movie. Okay, that makes sense that he's playing this kind of role. I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, overall, I mean, it was a pretty good surprise. And, you know, like we said, for an April movie, I was not disappointed in seeing this one.
Yeah, I think this is like what you just said. It's feast or famine for that first like couple months of the year, and then once you hit April, it's when you start to kind of see the rise in quality. So yeah, no, for sure, this is where.
Yeah, I would say normally like March you'll get like a release or two that are kind of usually starting. A lot of times, honestly, in recent years, that's when we've been seeing our MonsterVerse movie. King Kong and Godzilla have kind of ate at that March showing. But yeah, I feel like March you usually get like one release that's like, okay, let's kind of start getting people back in theaters. And then April you get 1 to 2 more to try to ramp it up. And yeah, and then May, once we get here, this is kind of when it just takes off of we start getting a lot of movies. May started the month off. We had Thunderbolts, the second of the MCU movies. And yeah, I feel like this one was, in terms of, you know, this movie did really good for Marvel. I mean, this was a lot of people after this movie came out was like, this was probably one of the best things Marvel's done in quite some time now. I know box office wise doesn't really reflect that, but it definitely gave a lot of MCU fans hope that maybe they can kind of start getting back on track to make good movies.
I'm pretty sure this was a film I talked about when we made the upcoming last time that I was kind of excited for. I know I was always on the hype train and it kept building. So I'm glad that we can leave this year that it was a hit in my eyes for sure.
Yeah, it gave us hope they can steer the ship right, because it wasn't looking great at the start there with Brave New World. We're like, please don't Brave New World Thunderbolts, please. Yeah, definitely a pleasant surprise. Full review on the channel as well.
And then we go to the movies that came out Memorial Day weekend together at the same time. Lilo and Stitch, which, like I said, is, as of us recording this, the only $1 billion movie of 2025. But Zootopia, there's no shot it does not hit that billion mark. As I think last I looked, it was only 50 million away. And it definitely will get more than 50 million by the end of the year. And then we had Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the final installment of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that too much now. We have a full review, but you know, that's PTSD.
Yes, like you said, both had full reviews. Both were pretty big letdowns. I will say Lilo and Stitch had a lot going for it. It had one glaring issue that kind of really upset me, and I know quite a few other Lilo and Stitch fans. But all in all, you know, to start, Memorial Day weekend, have a $1 billion movie was good for the studios and definitely good for Disney after the box office flop that was Snow White.
Yep. But I mean, are we really like crying over Disney right now? No, they're a $1 billion company. They're fine flopping with Snow White.
Yeah, but I mean, Little Stitch. I mean, Blake, you're pretty excited going on that one. I know I tagged along, so that's just that was rough.
Yeah, I'm a big Lilo and Stitch guy. I loved the animated movie growing up, and I think the animated series was phenomenal. I still think it's phenomenal. So yeah, this definitely was one of the more anticipated movies I had of the year, and was, for the most part, it was not too bad. It was just mainly Zach Galifianakis. Fuck you, man. You suck. That was just, why did they cast him, and why did he give no effort? He just got a Disney check. Pissed me off. If we're being honest, it was a Disney movie. There's one man that I would have trusted to have that role, and he would have gave it his all, because he does forever, because he is a Disney machine merchant, and I respect him. That's Josh Gad. Should have gave him that fucking role. I don't know if he wanted it. I don't care. I feel like any Disney movie that comes out, Josh Gad's going to find his way into it probably, and Alec Tunick is going to find his way into it somehow. And either of them would have put on a hell of a performance, especially when it came to the voice acting for Jumbo. And instead, we gave that annoying fuck that role who did nothing.
Yeah. Valid points.
Trash. Then we hit June, where really theaters went crazy. We had a lot of stuff going on. We had Ballerina, which we all have. We have reviews on pretty much most of these movies, almost all of these movies on the channel. But we have Ballerina, How to Train Your Dragon live action, 28 years later. And then when it comes to streaming world, we had Predator, Killer of Killers on Hulu. And then there was also K-pop Demon Hunters, the global sensation on Netflix. And then you had Elio, the Disney animated movie, as well as the F1 movie.
You know what's wild? I've seen all of these but two.
Which two?
Yeah, K-pop and Elio.
No, I've seen K-pop. I've not seen Elio, and I've not seen How to Train Your Dragon.
I have not seen How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can I say, K-pop, low-key was kind of good.
I mean, it has good reviews.
People were going crazy for this shit, bro. And I was like, watched it with the lady. I was like, this movie's kind of alright. It's kind of good.
Okay.
I was surprised.
I mean, yeah. We don't have a review for it, so by all means.
I watched it way too late. I didn't watch it in June. But yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's still doing numbers. It's still going crazy. Especially in the streaming for the music.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this month was overall pretty good. Obviously, we had the Ballerina review, which was a solid spin-off for the John Wick world. I know in terms of box office, it didn't do great, but overall, we all love John Wick. You know, all three of those movies are really, really good. But Ballerina was a really good spin-off there. And then How to Train Your Dragon, I guess I'm the only one who saw it. I didn't know that. All in all, it was a really good live-action remake, I thought. They did a lot of scene-for-scene shots in it, which I thought were interesting. You know, they didn't deviate too much for it, but I wasn't all that upset from that. But yeah, I think it was a pretty good month for movies.
That was a good June month. It was.
It was stacked too. Like, it felt like it was every week there was a new release. It's like one after another after another after another is going crazy.
Yeah, it pretty much was. Yeah, it was definitely big. I mean, obviously, Elio for Disney was a big fail though for them. And then F1, we have that review of that one that that did pretty good box office wise as well.
It did.
But
shout out Apple.
They talk about box office.
Yeah, there's box office thing to talk
about.
Then we go to July, where we had 2 of the 4 comic book movies. We started the month off 4th of July weekend with Jurassic World Rebirth, and then you had Superman and Fantastic Four: The First Steps, were the 3 major kind of finish out the summer blockbuster movies. And then you had Happy Gilmore 2, which came out on Netflix. I will say, as somebody who ended up seeing all 4 of these movies, it was a pretty solid month for movies.
Yeah, I've seen all 3. I just couldn't give money to Jurassic World. Just couldn't do it.
I've seen 2. I've not seen Happy Gilmore or Jurassic World.
Really?
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore was all right. It was a shrewd.
It was a fun sequel. It was nothing special, but if you're going into a Happy Gilmore 2 movie expecting a lot, whatever. Yeah, Jurassic World I watched once it came to Peacock like a month ago. I was not given that money, but eventually I was like, you know what? It's on Peacock now. I'll give it a watch. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't terrible. I will say I for sure did not see the last Chris Pratt one. Possibly even missed out on 2 of the Chris Pratt ones. The beginning is a little goofy, kind of the start of it. There's some questionable reasoning. Basically, the entire dinosaur facility crashes out because of a Snickers wrapper bar.
Oh, God.
It gets sucked up into a door, which then causes the entire system of a definitely multi-millionaire, you could probably even say multi-billion-dollar facility, to crash, letting dinosaurs free in that facility. So that was definitely like, okay, we're starting with that. And then overall, I mean, Scarlett Johansson was entertaining. Mahershala Ali was good. Jonathan Bailey was fun. Unfortunately, as all Jurassic movies have to do, there's some kind of little family with like 2 kids aspect in it, and they got better by the end. But boy, early on, I was hoping they all just drowned on their shitty little boat. They were rough.
Well, you can't win them all. You can't win them all.
Yeah, I mean, we have reviews all the other ones, but overall, I mean, I think just in general, we all had really good reviews of Superman. We all really enjoyed Superman, and for the most part, Fantastic Four was reviewed pretty well by all of us. I definitely think I was enjoyed it the most out of all of us.
Great summer month.
It was. It really was.
That was to cap off July. That was just a great way to kind of end the, August is still technically summer, but to me, it's like, July's kind of the end of summer in terms of blockbusters, and it definitely was in terms of movie theaters. As going into August, we had the sequel to Nobody 2, another sequel in Bad Guys 2, I guess another sequel in Freaker Friday. As somebody, we didn't do a review on any of these movies. Pretty sure, right? No one did. Someone do Insidious?
We did not. I don't think so. But I gotta confess, I didn't watch a single one of these. I took a break in August after that run from like May to July, because didn't feel like it. Just personally didn't feel appealed to go to watch 3 sequels to movies that really didn't need sequels, or I didn't think warranted a sequel. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, hey, I've been in the same boat, so
that's crazy. Fake fans out here. Bad Guys 2 is actually pretty yeah, I saw Bad Guys 2 and Freakier Friday.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bad Guys 2 was actually pretty enjoyable. I mean, I enjoyed the first one a lot, so this one I thought was good. I will say I did watch Bad Guys 2 and then watch Bad Guys. So there's just that. I'll put that out there. But overall, it was a pretty enjoyable time. On Freaker Friday, I was actually surprised. Freaker Friday was pretty solid for the most part. It had some cringy dialogue of like the whole just like, trying to fit in like these. I honestly, not even a millennial, I don't think. Just there was some cringy dialogue for sure. But overall, I mean, it was actually a pretty solid movie that had a pretty decent little plot and had a pretty decent climax acting, and kind of the heart of the movie was actually pretty good. So I was kind of surprised by Freaky Friday.
And you saw Freaky Friday before or after?
Oh yeah, I saw that growing up. What do you mean, bro?
I saw that. That's a growing up film there.
I watched that quite a few times growing up. I had the DVD of that.
I think I watched
it was a banger
one time in my life.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, it's a good movie. That's a classic.
Yeah, that movie was a good grown up movie. And then we hit September, which we had, as you would expect, August and September to have horror movies. You had Conjuring Last Rites came out. And then we had A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, the Margot Robbie, Colin Farrell movie. Demon Slayer, which was the anime movie. That's about as much as I can give on that one. One Battle After Another, and Smashing Machine.
Low-key pretty decent. Pretty decent.
Wide variety. I think that's the best thing I can say about it for September.
I mean, I saw 2. I saw Demon Slayer and I saw One Battle After Another. So the 2 I watched were pretty good. I didn't watch 3.
Watched Conjuring. It was a bit disappointing, as I even said. And we all watched One Battle After Another.
Yeah, I saw Big Bold Beautiful Journey, so Smashing Machine was the only one left off that none of us watched.
Couldn't do that.
Yeah, not doing that. We'll never do that. But overall, like you said, for September, I mean, pretty big diversity in terms of what kind of movie you want to watch, which is just nice offers. I mean, I did a full review on Big Bold Beautiful Journey, but I thought that was a very solid movie that kind of came out of nowhere for me. And yeah, One Battle After Another. We also did a group wide review on that one. So
Yeah, overall decent. I mean, it's not May, June, July, but still decent enough.
still a fun month. And then we go to October, where we had Josh's, highly anticipated Tron Ares,
Yikes.
the Black Phone 2. We were supposed to get Mortal Kombat 2 as of when we recorded this last year, talking about movies coming out in 2025. But as far as I know, from when we did this video a year ago, talking about kind of movies we're excited for 2025, this is the only movie that I had down that was kind of a major studio movie that did not end up coming out this year, that got pushed off or anything. So I feel like that's kind of interesting. As far as we know, only one movie got pushed off that we kind of thought might be coming out. Then we had the Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere movie and Begonia.
I can't comment too much. I didn't watch any. Once again in October.
I only watched one. I thought I was going to see two. I tried to get to Black Phone 2, but that got ripped from theaters so fast. If you did not see it in the first week it was out, it was already gone. So that was a bit disappointing. And I don't even know. I assume it's probably on streaming service now, but that's the only reason why I did not see that immediately. Otherwise,
Probably
just
because
Tron.
Springsteen probably took over.
It did take over. Took over pretty damn fast. And also, the sequel for that movie is kind of odd that it even had a sequel. So
True. Yeah, obviously Josh and I did a full review of Tron Ares, so we don't really need to talk about that one too much overall. Started pretty decent, and then boy, that went downhill quickly. But yeah, Springsteen, I mean, I just added that because I knew obviously none of us saw it or ever going to see it. Just had to mention the classic ever since, you can really trace this back to, I would say, probably Bohemian Rhapsody as kind of the start of this whole Oscar bait. If you play one of these, you will get a Oscar or at least nominated. So that's kind of the point to go back to, that kind of has spiraled us out of control into every single person needing to do some kind of biography movie. And now we're to the point where I guess we're not even doing people who are dead. We're doing living people, which is interesting because it's like, I understand, like, people, wanting to give people flowers while they're still here. Like, that's definitely a real thing that people should, embrace, these kind of icons that are still with us while they're still here. But I understand Bruce Springsteen has a fan base. I just, I don't know who in that fan base is going to the theaters to see a movie about him. So
we this is what documentaries are for. It's the whole purpose of that art. We do not need these movies hitting and getting Hollywood budgets. Plain and simple. Yeah. That's it. Nothing against it. Like you said, gotta pay flowers, but that's what documentaries are for. It works. They work. The Last Dance for MJ and all them. That shit was great for a documentary. It works.
Put it on Netflix. Yeah.
Well, we don't talk about Netflix in here anymore. Yeah, and then Begonia, that was the what's up? Yorgos Lanthimos movie with Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. That was, the first of those movies that I saw that I did not do a review on. I don't believe I might have did not do a solo review on that one.
No.
So yeah, I'll just give my thoughts on that one since I was the one who saw. I was really surprised with this movie. I had not seen any of Yorgos's movies that him and Emma Stone collabed on. 2 last year, and Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness was also had Jesse Plemons in that one. All I have heard about, I heard about both those movies and did not think that he was a director that was of my taste, that I was interested in seeing any of his movies. I kind of just ended up seeing this one day just while I was seeing movies at the theater, and this was definitely a surprise movie for me that was very, very enjoyable, and for a very limited cast. Just Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons put together a masterpiece, the two of them, in their acting. So this movie was definitely a surprise. Then we get into November, which had quite a few releases. We start with Frankenstein, which got a limited Netflix, or is a Netflix movie, which had a limited theatrical release at select theaters. And then you had Predator Badlands, Now You See Me 3, The Running Man, Zootopia 2, Wicked Part 2, or Wicked for Good, and Eternity. as we have reviews out already on the channel for Predator Badlands and The Running Man. We all did see Now You See Me 3. That one also has a review, doesn't it?
No, it does not.
Nope.
No, it doesn't. We took that one out because
haters.
that movie sucked. So we're getting rid of that one.
Yeah.
And no one is going to be sad about that because that movie sucked. But I just saw Zootopia 2 and Eternity over the weekend. I thought about trying to do reviews for them, especially Zootopia 2, given how its box office numbers are going crazy right now. Don't think we're going to be fit that in the schedule. So I'll just say real quick, pretty solid sequel. Do I think it as good as the first one? No, but I'm honestly, Zootopia is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. It's top 3 for me. Really enjoyed it. I thought the sequel was fun. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. Had some good jokes, a decent time. And Eternity was A24. Yeah, that movie was very, very good. The acting in it was great. Divine Joy Randolph, supporting actress, just saying. She's not going to get the nod anymore. She did last year for Holdovers. I believe she was nominated for Oscar. She should be again for this one in a completely different role of not as serious. Just she was fucking hilarious, and I loved her in this movie. Elizabeth Olsen was really kind of the supporting actress star, but man, I loved her. She was so funny in this movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie as well. But yeah, like I said, we have reviews for Predator and Running Man already out.
Yeah, I mean, the only ones that I probably the only one I've seen Wicked. Saw that part 2. It was crazy to me of how packed the theaters were for weeks and weeks going on to it, and that it's not doing like crazy numbers. I looked it up. It's like around 450 mil around there, which I thought was crazy. Maybe it's just around me. It was just stacked, and they went for many weeks of holding even the IMAX and Super IMAX. It's doing great. And it was a packed theater on a Tuesday. I went. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's insane for a musical. Couldn't be me.
And I guess I will say Frankenstein, I'm the only one who saw that one.
I saw it too.
Oh, you have seen it? I don't know,
yes.
Since you have seen it. I don't know what you can give your thoughts on that one.
I think you had mentioned that you thought overall you were a bit let down by it and you didn't like the structure for it. I didn't mind it. I felt overall it was, if I had to put like a fucking grade on it, I think it's like a 6.8, maybe on a good day a 7 out of 10, but you know, it's around average.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say the one thing I can say is Jacob Elordi I thought did phenomenal. His acting in a character where he didn't have as much like speaking, it was a lot of just his body movements and his facial expressions and stuff. That's the main thing I could come out of it saying. Like Jacob Elordi did phenomenal work as the creature, and
I like
also the like makeup design too was really good. The makeup design for him as the creature was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree. And then just another thing too, I like the feel of the movie. It felt like Guillermo does a pretty good job with those style of movies, and yeah, this was definitely right up his alley. And I also enjoyed Oscar Isaac's performance in there as Victor. So yeah, those are my highlights.
And then we get into December, which is, as of us recording, is not all the way out. So a lot of these are just talking about movies that will be coming out soon. We had the Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out Tale, the Netflix movie, which had a limited theatrical release and then came to Netflix. As of recording it, it is coming to Netflix soon. So I'm sure both of you, I imagine, are having plans to watch that. Maybe not this weekend, but soon. Mm-hmm. So possibly be on the lookout. We might do early January review of this one. I was lucky enough to get to see it in theaters, which was cool because don't have one by me anymore. Because shout out Regal and AMC that do not do deals with the devil, aka Netflix. Fuck you. You don't get your little 1 week theatrical release, you bitch. And then we have Hamnet, which is coming out. This is the Chloe Zhao movie starring Pedro Pascal and Jessica Buckley. Kind of a Shakespeare movie about him creating Hamlet, his play. This one I kind of just threw in there. I don't think any of us really have any intentions of seeing this. I would say if anybody, I'm probably the one who might see it in theaters just to see it. But it just does have a lot of buzz around the look of it, and kind of with Oscars creeping up and some talk about Oscar nominations and the Golden Globes just releasing their nominees. This is just one to kind of be on the lookout for some of the awards there. The big one, Avatar 3. This will be Fire and Ash. This one is coming out very soon. Obviously, this has a lot of anticipation. Like Josh said, that surprisingly, Wicked for Good's box office numbers are not as surprising or like as high as I thought they might be. But Zootopia 2 will hit $1 billion, so we will have at least $2 billion. I mean, I don't see a world as of when we're recording this. I just don't see a world where Zootopia doesn't hit $1 billion. But obviously, Avatar 3 has to hit $1 billion. Like, there's just no way it doesn't with the way everybody likes these movies and sees them. So this will probably be the third and $1 billion movie of the year and the last one. And then we have Marty Supreme, the Timothée Chalamet teaming up with Josh Safdie movie with Gwyneth Paltrow coming back to acting, as she has not really been in a movie in quite some time. She had her little cameo in Avengers Endgame, but besides that, she has been on quite a acting hiatus since Iron Man 3, I think, was the last, and she wasn't really... I mean, she was in that one a decent amount, actually.
Endgame, she's in it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That Endgame,
not...
she just has that little, cameo, but she's not, in it. So, yeah, we kind of have her return as a major supporting actress for the first time in a while, and this movie, again, has a good amount of buzz around it, and mainly in terms of kind of, as we're, like I said, on that awards season, this one has a lot of buzz around it.
Yeah, he's been doing like he always does with his movies, fun marketing campaign. But recently in interviews, he's been very cocky. I don't know if he's just playing the character or if he's just having fun, or I don't know. But a lot of recent interviews, Timmy Boy has been quite cocky about his performance that he does in this film. So we'll see. I think I might have to see it, whether I have interest or not, just because of the marketing's kind of getting me and how he's acting. So
I think it's part of like the marketing kind of thing, because I'm pretty sure he's playing a character that's like kind of a douche.
Yeah, he is. I mean, just in the I am Marty Supreme, who he's playing, is a very like confident, outgoing kind of person. Like you said, part of me definitely does hope this is just a little bit of the marketing tactic, because he won me over with Dune Part 2. I was not a big Timmy Boy fan. After that, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'll see some of his other stuff. At the, I believe it was Golden Globes last year, he won some kind of award for his Bob Dylan movie. And in that acceptance speech, he like kind of came out and said, like, I know a lot of people you're not supposed to say this, they say, but I want to be one of the greats. Like, I want to go after it, which was like, that came out. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like a younger actor just acknowledging it. Like, that's kind of cool. But like you said, I read those comments, and my first thing was like, is this real? Did he actually say this? Am I just getting got by somebody? But yeah, if he's saying that kind of stuff, if for those of you who don't know, he basically said like how great of a performance he gave in this movie, and then he just continued on to that by saying like in the past like 7 to 8 years, he's just been turning in phenomenal performances, and he hopes people like don't skip over it and like understand what he's putting in. And I was like, I'm a Timmy Boy fan, but that comment came out and it kind of hit me the wrong way. Of like, all right, buddy, like at the end of the day, you're what, not even 30 yet? Shut the fuck up. Like, just keep acting. So I will say, as a Timmy fan and somebody who plans on seeing this movie in theaters, reel it in, buddy. Shut the fuck up.
Either that or give the performance of a lifetime and shut us up. What are the others?
So far, all he does is win, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I will say he is a phenomenal. He's definitely the best actor under 30, for sure. He's blowing anybody in that competition out of the water, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
But it's just like, at the end of the day, like, you're still very young to be talking. Like I said, the Golden Globes thing was cool. Like, hey, you acknowledge you want to be one of the greats. That's fine to be like ambitious, but there's a difference of like, this is what I want to do. And then there's a difference of being not even 30 yet and being like, I've been turning in great shit the past 7 to 8 years. And I hope everybody sees that and acknowledges it. It's like, that's when we get from like being ambitious and like, that's good to have goals. Like, proud to say that out loud and just like, all right, man, like, go stroke your own ego on your own time, buddy. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Settle it down. But yeah, that's going to do it for, or I guess we can talk about real quick, just with kind of the movies. You guys both are planning on seeing Avatar 3, and right now Avatar 3 is kind of going crazy in terms of people thinking that there might be a whole lot of big trailers leading up to it, which that's kind of gonna, I mean, that's not going to be the only reason, but that movie is fully expected to hit $1 billion. So I don't know if either of you just want to talk real quick about your level of excitement going into Avatar coming out soon?
I think I'll say this. I think the recent trailer definitely looked better than the first like announcement trailer for it. I am probably gonna see it, and I'll probably just think it's okay. But I will say though, for trailers, a lot of the news is that regardless, they'll actually be released on social media even before it's coming out. So there's a chance that maybe some of the hype of even the point of seeing Avatar 3 is a little lost there. Because I even saw that literally just before recording today about the next Avengers film that they're thinking it's going to get released before Avatar even comes
like
out.
tomorrow, as of this recording. Same thing with Supergirl.
Well,
That's coming out
Supergirl is
tomorrow for
confirmed.
sure.
Supergirl, as of us recording, Supergirl trailer is coming out tomorrow. There's a little teaser about the trailer. But yeah, I will agree. I mean, I always was new. Like, obviously, they're going to put the trailers out online as well. Like, it's not like they were just going to fully do a limited theatrical release for trailers. Like, that's going to fucking come out.
Right.
And so that was my thing. Like, I have no interest, and I will not be seeing Avatar 3. And literally the only thing I thought about is possibly doing when I go see Marty Supreme, timing it out for a Avatar 3 showing, of getting my free ticket to go into Avatar 3, see the trailers, and then leave and go see Marty Supreme either before or after I do that, because I have no interest. But yeah, like you said, I mean, it obviously the trailers are going to come to online
on YouTube
and social media,
yeah.
Whether it's a little bit before or like a day or two later. I'm like, I don't think that's going to affect Avatar 3's that much. Like, this is such a big project and it has done such crazy numbers. Like, I think it's not going to be a huge deal for them.
That's fair.
Let's just put it this way. Avatar movies, I think what they are is an event movie. You know, they come out in December. It's like the holiday season. The first one came out in like 2009, and then it was like a 10-year gap until we got the sequel. So everyone was hyped about that. For the most part, I feel like people, at least the audience, felt like it was a pretty good sequel. And they're just excited to get another event-like movie like that. They're nothing like super special. There's not like Oscar-worthy performances in there, but it's an event.
Oh, they try to
so
say
people
there
are going
are.
to show up.
They try to say there are.
But yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. It's an event. I'm gonna go to it. It's what it is.
Yeah, which that part I can respect. I can respect James Cameron wanting to put out a major movie meant for the theaters. I can respect that for sure. And then real quick, I just want to kind of talk about some of the golden folds in terms of box office numbers. Obviously, with all box office numbers, never can get an exact what the budget's going to be, because there's a budget and then there's marketing budget, and everyone says like just do half, do double, blah blah. Just in terms of profits, as of now, it seems like Lilo and Stitch was the most profitable movie of 2025 with roughly 800 mil in profits. Zootopia 2 definitely could possibly get there. Avatar 2, no matter what it makes, cannot get there, I'm sure, because that movie, I think they said, needs to make, between making it and box office or marketing and all that, needs to make like $1 billion just to break even. Some say even more, because then it also gets into like they possibly filmed multiple at a time, so it's like, how do you navigate? Same with like Mission Impossible. Is kind of hard to know like what its box office was for that same reason. But for just simplify, Lilo and Stitch is probably the most profitable movie of the year. Zootopia 2 has potential, which both being Disney movies is, big for them. But just some kind of like surprise ones. Minecraft had a really big year, roughly 650 mil in profits is kind of what I figured it might be. And then Conjuring Last Rites, I feel like that was just an interesting one to throw in there. Roughly 350 million in profits, I believe, because it had a 55, obviously again, all reported, had a $55 million budget. And so you figure with marketing and stuff, somewhere around 100 mil, we'll say, but it did almost 500 million in box office numbers.
What?
It was 487.
Conjuring fans are still alive.
Yeah, apparently. So,
I mean, not after the movie though, but
let's go.
So I just had to throw that in there. There's other successful movies that had lower and that did good, like Sinners and Weapons movie, but none of them even touched that 350 that Conjuring did. So threw that one in there. And then just a couple flops to mention real quick. This is always one of the most difficult things to kind of figure out, but Tron Ares, my best guess is somewhere around 300 million this movie possibly could have lost them. Snow White, 250 million potentially. This
That's
one might have lost
crazy.
them, and Mission Impossible potentially 200 million. It's always just kind of tough, especially with, like I said, Mission Impossible is kind of filmed like at the same time, so like that kind of messes with like the budgeting because you're doing two movies and so on. And then Snow White was another one where it was made, but then it had like a year-long gap of when it was supposed to come out, and then they kind of like push it off because of some issues. So that kind of messed with like the budgeting. But yeah, so those are kind of just the three main ones. Which, like I said, how Disney had two of the most profitable. Disney has two of the biggest flops of the year with those ones. And Elio, the Disney animated movie, definitely could have been here. However, Disney realized how awful it was doing, and they pulled all the marketing very early on to try to negate their losses. So they definitely lost money with Elio. It's just difficult to kind of figure out exactly how much it is just because they did pull their marketing. So that's just kind of some box office golder folds for 2025. If either of you have any thoughts on that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Demon Slayer opened as the highest grossing anime movie of all time. But I'm just double checking. Yeah. I'm double checking.
Yeah, I do remember hearing that when that came out, that it had a very, very successful
theatrical run. Yeah.
Run.
Yep, it was. Yeah, wow. Globally, it raked in $555 million. So yeah, it is the highest grossing. So yeah, that's another gold, I guess, if you were to talk about box office.
Yeah, that definitely had a good profit. But I'd say to close this video out, as always, we have a couple of awards that we give out with this series that we run and take very seriously and know all the awards that we constantly do. The four major awards we will be giving out are Gold of the Year, aka, kind of the best movie of the year. Fold of the Year, very clearly the worst or flop movie for whatever reason that person wants to verify, whether it's just their hype going into it, the movie just sucked overall, whatever they want to say. And then we have the classic RKO award. This is the movie that you just got to watch out for. It came out of nowhere. You weren't paying attention. You were showboating to the fans. You shouldn't have done that. Randy Orton's going to get you. This movie came out of nowhere and surprised you. And then to close it out, we have For the Culture, which is a movie that is, or a award that is in the eyes of the beholder, as all of these are, of what you want to put in that category.
Alex, why don't you lead us?
Okay. All right, gentlemen. We're going to go like this. We're going to go with the award, and then we all say what we picked. So, first one, For the Culture. I chose Sinners as that movie, so it's pretty self-explanatory, but go on.
I chose F1 for me on this one, just because I felt like it didn't earn the best movie of the year, but I sure damn loved it, man.
Okay.
I will say this was difficult for me because I did not want a movie to win 2 awards. So I had to make a business decision. I believe the other one fits better in this category, but I don't believe it fits better in the other category. So I gave For the Culture to Predator Badlands. Just a dope-ass action sci-fi movie that I saw this one twice in theaters because my brother was like, hey, that movie actually looks cool. He rarely goes to the theaters. He's like, oh, that one looks interesting. Kind of want to see it. I was like, hey, I've seen it once. I'll see it again, though. So it got somebody else into the theaters. It's just a dope action sci-fi movie. So that was my For the Culture movie.
Okay. All right. So with that said, the next one is actually, you know what? Let's go with RKO award. My RKO that came out of nowhere was Killer of Killers. I did not see it coming. I heard rumblings of there being an animated Predator movie. Watched it, was pleasantly surprised by it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, that was my RKO.
I had 2 of here that was really battling, but I didn't pick one just because I felt like since it was assigned to me, it wasn't as much of an RKO. So what I went was one that I just randomly watched, and it was K-pop Demon Hunters. That movie was good, and I gotta say, I was like, that's random as shit for me to watch it. So
yeah, enough, I mean, man. I'll agree, Josh. I also thought about putting The Gorge in there for my RKO as well. I'm assuming that was the one you were just talking about. But
yeah,
I ended up going with the one that I didn't know anything about and I kind of expected not to like, and that was Begonia. I knew nothing about this movie until I started seeing the marketing. And even when I decided to go see this, I kind of was going into it like, hey, I just try to watch movies. I not expecting to enjoy this at all. I went on a Saturday morning. I was the only one in the theater for this movie.
Hell yeah.
Not a lot of people going to 10 a.m. movies, apparently. But yeah, this movie I thought was actually really phenomenal. The acting, mainly of those two, and the third actor, I don't know his name, was really, really good as well. But yeah, this movie was one I was not expecting to like, nor did I know anything about it. And it really just came out of nowhere and was a big, big surprise for me.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave the best one for last. So we're gonna do Fold of the Year. Now, like we mentioned before, that first half was rough. It was rough. But to me, I felt Fold of the Year was one where I actually felt like there was a chance, a good way to end supposed franchise. And man, was I disappointed. That was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning for me. That was the Fold of the Year for me. I was just let down, to say the least.
I had a lot of options, and I was surprised at how many options I had on this one. We've already talked about the fact that I was very angry with Captain America, and I did not pick that one. I went with one that I actually saw with Blake, and I was surprised at just how bad it was, and that was Lilo and Stitch. I think that is the Fold of the Year. I think you had an absolute layup, Disney, and it is fucking pathetic of what you did. It almost made me as mad when I kind of saw clips afterwards, even when we did our review, of almost Craven like of when we reviewed that movie, of just being, it was, you had to try to make it this bad. You really did. And so that's why I said I felt like it earned it, even over Tron. Even over Tron as the Tron fanboy, I think there was effort to make it that bad.
This is actually interesting because I agree with you. I had a tough time nailing it down, and I came down to two that I was fighting between, and it was the two that you guys have listed were the two I was battling for, which is my Fold of the Year. And ultimately, I have to go to with Lilo and Stitch. Was the ended up being the winner of that. As much as I dislike Mission Impossible more, but I had way more hype going into Lilo and Stitch, which is why it ended up being the Fold. Because, like you said, I mean, it was just it was kind of disrespectful. The major changes, some of the major changes they made in this, it was very upsetting. Just some of the issues in this movie that, as much as I did not enjoy Mission Impossible, and I would much rather watch Lilo and Stitch again than sit through 3 hours of Tom Cruise hitting on another like 20 plus younger female. I can't. I have to give it to Lilo and Stitch just because of how excited I was for this movie.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's funny that your two choices were the two that
those
we
were my
said.
two.
Yeah.
That is kind of
Yeah, that's how it be sometimes. Okay, and the final one, Gold of the Year. Now, as I said, you mentioned it too. I mean, probably Gold of the Year should go to Sinners, but for me, I chose Sinners for the culture, just because for the culture. Gold of the Year for me is Predator Badlands. I mean, this was just a gem, and he just keeps on pumping out amazing Predator movies, and I'll continue to see it just because he just keeps going on a heater right now. So yeah, that's my Gold of the Year for sure.
Hey, I'll stick with it. Same. I went purely based off ratings because I think there was some contenders on this one, and I had to just go straight up. This was my highest rated one for this year, and so Predator as well. Just I think you stuck the landing, and I was just so surprised that they did. And goddamn, man, that was a fun movie. I know it's not necessarily unique or fully different, but still, it was a good fucking film.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, shout out. I was between Predator Badlands and Sinners, obviously, were the two that I was trying to decide what to do. I agree with Alex, though. What you did makes sense. Doing Sinners does fit that for the culture category a little better than definitely Predator does. But I have to say the Gold of the Year goes to Sinners just because not only do I think that movie is phenomenal in so many different aspects, but just also have to give just such a shout out to Ryan Coogler and that entire team, what they did with the cameras filming in IMAX, and to Michael B. Jordan doing that dual role so seamlessly that I was like, this just has to be my gold. It fits better in the For the Culture, but just the things that they accomplished in this movie, I think is amazing. Obviously, the Miles Canton singing and bringing down the house with Remick outside. That scene, I think, is one of the best scenes in cinema. It's definitely number 2 for me all time. So it was the gold for me that team. Just congrats to everybody around that team. That was a just impressive cinematic experience. So that's my gold of the year.
Absolutely. And shout out Christopher Nolan for wanting to push it as an award finalist, because it definitely deserves it for sure.
It does. That movie for sure deserves some stuff. I don't know which awards they want to give it, but it should be nominated for everything and definitely will not and should not go home empty-handed. And I would just say for other people, if anyone out there who's excited about Mahershala Ali being announced as Blade back in 2020, this was your Blade movie, okay? If you haven't seen it, MCU fans, this was your Blade movie. This is as close as you're going to get to it. They literally used the costumes that they were going to use for Blade, and that kept falling through. That Ryan Coogler is like, let me have those. We'll use them. So this is your Blade movie, MCU fans. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But yeah, I think that that's going to do it, unless anybody else has any closing thoughts on the 2025 movies.
No, sir.
Nope. It's all from me.
Yeah, so as always, let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are on some of the either awards or just movies that came out in 2025. If there's any we missed, be on the lookout next week as we will look ahead to the 2026 movies, as we potentially are going into one of the last years of movie theaters getting a bunch of theatrical releases before the monopoly overlords take it over and ruin theaters forever. So be on the lookout for that video. Like the channel, or like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one.